Yes, people, welcome back to another video on the Big Steph channel. And today we're here with a special video with my boy Jesse. Jesse, big collaborator on the channel. I've met Jesse a few times. We've done a few interviews, and every time we have conversations, we talk very well about football. So I just thought
A lot of tactics. A
a
lot
lot
of
of
tactics to
tactics,
get
and
into.
I like talking tactics with Jesse, and I like having conversations with Jesse about the game. So we're gonna cover the Bayern game and how that played out from an Arsenal fan's perspective, but also
Yep,
touch slightly on Villa at the weekend and how massive that could be for not only the Bayern second leg, but also our Premier League title implications.
of
So
course.
firstly, Jesse, how are you for everybody at home?
I'm great. I mean, what a great day of Champions League football was
Mm-hmm.
yesterday. It started with just the Arsenal game on, and within 2 minutes, I get a notification of Bernardo Silva scoring it. I had to throw on the Paramount double screens there. Wish you could just choose the audio because keep the Arsenal game on. It kept rotating on the audio, but I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
games were so good yesterday.
Brilliant games, two good
Re
games, 10
really
goals
bad.
between them.
Yeah, really bad day for the soccer is boring people.
Terrible day. That's what Champions League football is about. And talking about what Champions League football is about, touch on Arsenal versus Bayern Munich. Now, firstly, going into the game, no, I don't know how you feel about it because we honestly didn't talk about it
Mhm.
really too much in detail. But the lineup going into that game, a lot of fans, in retrospect, are talking about Kiwior and his performance. What did you think about the lineup going into the game?
Yeah, I mean, look, I would have loved to see. I thought Carrier I mean, it was probably his worst game in an Arsenal uniform in a long time. I mean, a really tough matchup against Leroy Sané, who's, I mean, just blistering with pace. And I don't know if a guy who's more of a center back is really fit to
Fit
be
to go up
playing.
against him.
Yeah, fit to be playing there. To me, I mean, I like him. He's done a really good job here. I still think that if we're going to use Tomiyasu more to be able to play that position, to me, he's still got to be the third choice at the end of the day. He's a good player. He's young. He's going to get better, but it's still not his natural position. You could argue it's not Tommy's natural position either, but
That is
he's been a
true.
really strong player for the last couple of years. I was a little bit disappointed not to see him, and I thought he would have done a much better job. We've used Tomiyasu as kind of that Swiss Army knife before. We did it last year where we brought him onto the left side to deal specifically with Mo Salah, and I remember him being in his pocket all game. And we
Yep.
noticed a difference this year when we had Zinchenko on that side instead of Tomiyasu because he was hurt. So there's we've used him plenty of times for that, and I was a little bit disappointed that we didn't get to see him there. Also, um, didn't mind the front three, but I mean it clearly just wasn't working well enough. We had times where it looked like I forgot at times that Havertz and Martinelli were playing. They just were that right side was so much better than the left hand side for the first 30, 40 minutes of that triangle between Saka, Ben White, and Odegaard there. It didn't
Mhm.
feel like the left side was doing as much. I didn't feel that Havertz was certainly enough to be able to come in and be a presence there with both him being on the ball as well as his off ball runs. It just wasn't enough there.
Yeah, you touched on the front three, but I want to more look at the midfield three. Going
Hmm.
into the game, I even previewed and said the midfield was going to be very key if we're going to beat Bayern Munich because even though Bayern Munich are not in good form, they still have quality players, very good technical players. What do you think about the midfield three? He went with Jorginho, Declan Rice, and Martin Odegaard.
Well,
Midfield three that's
yeah, of
been
course.
working, but
Well, look, I mean, two of those three are going to be in every single lineup.
yep, Rice and Odegaard,
Of
yep.
course, but for Jorginho, I actually thought that we did a good job. I mean, we had at one point we had close to double the amount of passes that they had. Not that that really means much in today's game of football, where you could play on the counter.
Mm-hmm.
And you could just pass the ball with possession. It doesn't mean anything if it's not in the final third.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought we did a fine job. My only thing with Jorginho is I don't think that he's meant to last 90 minutes in a game. Like
No,
at some point, he's
Partey
not.
either, honestly.
Yeah, Partey
Partey
as
either,
well. I mean,
honestly.
both of those guys are not meant to go 90 minutes in a game. And Partey maybe when he's fully healthy. I mean, but it just hasn't been for years that we could depend on that. So really since his Atletico days. So to me, it wouldn't make sense that our number six there is playing 90 minutes on tired legs. That just doesn't cut it for me. And we
Mm-hmm.
got other options. And again, this is kind of what I said to we spoke a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
We need 5 to 7 guys deep, and if we don't have it, then they need to be sold so we could get there.
So overall, the sense I'm getting from you is you didn't mind the lineup really with the lineup that Mikel Arteta chose yesterday.
I didn't mind it. I would have like I said, would have really want to see Tomiyasu there instead of Kiriar, but I did mind the lineup. It's been a successful lineup. Look, the back seven with Raya, the back eight has been very good for us. So you could look at don't fix what's been working.
Okay.
And it seems like that's kind of the strategy that they went with. And again, they for much of the game played better where Bayern played on the counterattack, and they had plenty of times. And we saw the lack of pace with Jorginho kind of getting exposed there at times and not being able to cover.
No, no, I want to talk on that. Talking about the game specifically itself. Going into the game, I thought Arsenal were kind of in a kind of a tricky position. They're kind of in a position where, from the outside looking in, you want to prove yourself. You want to prove that you're one of the elite eight, especially getting that revenge against Bayern. But it's still a Champions League tie, and you're playing a very tricky, very experienced side. How Arsenal started the game, I thought Arsenal started the game brightly. Martin Odegaard, brilliant, getting on it, picking up those little half pockets of space, dropping
Yep.
deep for the ball. In for the goal, finds Bukayo Saka with a wonderful through ball over the top. Saka finds White, White finds Havertz to find White, to find Saka. Brilliant finish. Talk me through that goal for you. I was in class and I was absolutely ecstatic when the first goal went in.
Well,
Talk me through.
it was coming. I mean, we had all the momentum. I mean, Saka's sweet finish in the corner there. And the one thing
Brilliant
that I
finish.
like about Saka's game that he's done a better job at over the last year or two is you see a lot of guys that are on the wing, especially lefties that come in from the right side, where they're always just looking to bend it into the corner. And you're starting to see goalies cheat more and more. And the one thing Saka's done a really good job at is sometimes he pulls it with his left foot from the right side and buries it right into the short corner there and catches the goalie flat-footed.
Or
And he's done that.
sometimes, like we seen against No, was it Burnley? Where he roofs it. No, I can't remember if it was Burnley. Where he roofs it in the top of the net. You saw it against. Where he roofs it with his right foot in the top corner.
He
You
did that
saw
for
it against
I remember he did
Forest.
that for Everton last year.
He did it against Everton. It's something that he's been adding to his game. That right
Yeah,
foot
look,
finish high.
his right foot's been better, his weak foot's been better. But I mean, Mbappe, the same thing. Where I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Mbappe's probably the best at this in the world, and where he cuts in from the left side with his right foot, and it looks like he's going to go for an open, try to finesse it into the corner, and he just drills it low back near side.
Mm-hmm.
And so has had to keep the goalie honest. And you saw there where Saka opened up his body and just kind of felt it in, and Neuer couldn't cheat at all on the shot. A gorgeous play overall, good pass from Ben White to get it there, and great turn from Saka to recognize the open space for the goal. I mean, he could have easily tried to just think there was a guy right on him and try to release the ball again, but
Mm-hmm.
took the open space, turned right around and shot it.
And then right after that, we create a brilliant chance. Ben White. Oh, Ben White. A lot
It
of
was good.
people after the game were talking
I
about
thought it
that
was going to be
finish.
offside. I think that gets called back for offsides here. You think you could see that his shoulder was just
Slightly off.
past.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was Delict or if it was Dyer, but I thought he was. It looked like he was just offsides. I mean, regardless, I mean that look that's a great chance there. I mean, again, would love to probably see someone of more offensive caliber have that chance there. But if
You would
you're
like
the
to see
open guy,
that fall to probably one of our more potent players in front
yeah,
of
of
him.
course. Like I'd much
Mm-hmm.
rather see that go to an Odegaard or a Saka
Mm-hmm.
there. But I mean, again, I didn't make too much of it because personally I thought that was offsides, but or would have gotten called back for offsides.
And then this is where the second half. I think this is where, for me, Arsenal throw away a good half of football. And I say that I say that like this because I think result wise Arsenal knew what they needed to do,
Mhm.
but performance wise they didn't play bad at all. At all, we didn't play bad. I
I
thought we
agree with you.
literally like Arteta said after the game, we gifted them 2 goals. Raya comes out, makes the passing option very awkward for Gabriel. Gabriel with a sloppy pass to Kivior, misplaced. They break on us and they score a good finish. Talk me through your feelings after that goal went in and break down the goal for me in general
Yeah,
for you.
I mean, they're just in general for me. This is this Arsenal side defensively has been so good this season, and we
Mm-hmm.
spoke about it a while ago when we I forget, it wasn't don't remember who we played. It may have been after we beat Liverpool.
It probably was after the Liverpool game.
After a Liverpool game, and you asked me about how what I felt about City and the rest of the season. I said, well, look, our defense we could hang with anyone there, and we showed that against Man City. And I think it was like the first time in over 5 games we've given up a goal. For Riot, it's been the first time in over 800 minutes that a goal's gone in. So
And it's the players that we wouldn't expect. Gabriel, we saw
yeah,
Raya over recent
but
weeks has been looking kind of nervy for some people. Coming out there was very questionable.
yeah, this isn't
Gabriel. some questions. Some people ask why you didn't just clear it out in the stands
Of
for
course. I mean,
bro.
look, this is the first time this season that we've given away bad goals either. I mean, we gave away that horrible goal against Liverpool at home as
Oh,
well, where just, I mean,
mhm.
just complete
Horrible goal against
miscommunication.
Forest.
Yeah, a horrible goal against Forest, correct, which made that game competitive, which made that game nervy towards the end. So, I mean, my thing with Arsenal, we defend so well, we give up so few chances, and then I think part of our quality, we get so accustomed with the quality of the passing to be able to play out at the back that sometimes we're there
Too
for that
loose.
mistake.
Too
Yeah, we're too
complacent.
loose. Yeah, and look, I think that's equally on Raya Carrier. You could argue that's on Declan Rice not seeing the through ball
Yup.
there. He didn't pick up that guy. Ben White doesn't pick up Gnabry early enough. I mean, there's and then Raya not only
It's just a
was
domino effect of errors, honestly.
yeah,
I think.
Raya wasn't even in good position to make the save either. I thought he could have done better on the save. I know it's a
Mm,
point blank shot, but he didn't even make himself big. So there's a whole list of progressions where it's a really bad play there. But this is football. I mean, this is why you don't count teams out. This is why teams can play on the counterattack, and it's
and like I
fine.
said, this is what the Champions League is all about. Champions
Yes,
League is a game about moments. Like I say in my preview, and like I tell people I talk to all the time, and like I see these pundits talking about, which and I agree and I disagree with them massively. It doesn't matter who's favorites. I've seen Real Madrid play terribly for a full 90 minutes and go through. I've seen Real Madrid not play well against teams and still go through. Chelsea won the Champions League not playing well in the league.
yep.
Champions League is about moments and if you can avoid mistakes. I think what's been shooting us in the foot all Champions League knockout so far is mistakes. And I mean, it's really the first leg of both games, I would say, the game against Porto and this game. We've shot ourselves in the foot twice and we must put it right. But second goal for them, Sane goes on a blistering run. Saliba gives away the penalty. Talk us through your feelings once the penalty is given and once Harry Kane tucks away the penalty because I was
Yeah, I
hurt.
mean, look, it starts with again a bad play by Kyriar, letting Sane just completely turn him. And again, a guy with that pace there is always incredibly dangerous. And I know
And once he gets
he's
going, there's really no need to stop him,
yeah,
especially once he gets in the
ex
box.
exactly. And he's an inconsistent player, but that's not always that's not always the worst thing in the world. Inconsistency means that you could be really good and not always there. He was yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and he was that guy. And look, once there was a penalty there, it was again another bad play all around. It was sloppy, and like the penalty. I'm not going to blame Raya for not saving it against maybe the best penalty kick taker in the world, but I mean it was such a poor effort there on his part too. So it
Oh
just
yeah,
again,
touch on your background. You're a goalkeeper as well. Like,
yeah.
speak on like the penalty for you from Raya's perspective. Like anything you would have
Yeah, I
touched.
mean, look, so with Kane naturally is shot it to his strong side more, and rarely does he do anything different. Normally steps up and actually goes for, he goes for placement, but he doesn't. He still hits it hard, and you need to be able to guess it and jump early.
Mm-hmm.
He went with a slightly slower run up towards the end there, and it made it much tougher for Raya, who, now, as I would have done, gone to his strong side as well. But he jumped so early, and if you saw right
Intercepted
at
it.
the end of Kane's run up, he went from his head being down to his head being up. And once he saw Raya moving, he was immediately able, whether he was going right side or not, you saw that he no longer even shot it. He basically passed it into the
Passed it
corner,
into the
and
net.
and
Yeah.
you never see Harry Kane pass the ball in on a penalty. It's always
Mm-hmm.
with pace, or unless he's going down the middle, then he'll take it a little bit slower. But he always hits it with pace. In this
I
case, he
agree. He
passed the
always
ball
has a
into
quick
net.
run up and slaps it into a
Yep,
corner. I do agree.
exactly. So look, for me as a goalie, you got to trust your instincts and just go the certain ways. A lot of times the run up will give you something. A lot of times if you have
The hips and shoulders
yeah,
and
your especially your back shoulder. If your back shoulder just slightly opens up a little bit, and that's the natural sign that you're trying to just open up your body. If it's a close run up and you just turn your hips a little bit to your strong side, a lot of times that just means that you're blasting it on left. So there's little things that you could try to do there. But Harry
mm,
Kane's so good at he doesn't give anything away.
that's good. Great analysis from you from a goalkeeper's perspective. A lot of people didn't understand that, so that was a great breakdown from you, Jesse. But second half, we go into it. We're 2-1 down, and a lot of people are texting me at the time, asking me like, "Steph, how are we behind? What's
Yep.
happening? Is it nerves? Is it this?" And I told everyone we can still win this game. Bayern is a team that give away a lot of chances. What Arsenal need to do is make some adjustments, make some changes, and take their time and take their chances. What are your feelings going into the second half or at halftime, really?
Well, I'm glad that we made the adjustment and get Kiwior. We got brought Zinchenko in for more possession. I thought he did a pretty good job. I didn't like the fact that we kept playing that, trying to
That
chip pass over on the left-hand side. And we tried it like three
Zinchenko
times.
even still tried to do it when he came on, and it wasn't working. It
It
really
was,
wasn't.
yeah, it just wasn't working. But I thought he did a good job in possession. I don't think we need to like always play the ball to him,
Mm-hmm.
which is a little bit annoying that I feel like we always need to give it to him when we're at the, a halfway line. But I thought he did a good job. And look, Jesus and Trossard were the difference makers. They were so lively the second they came on. And Trossard, look, Trossard has been what an incredible signing.
Yeah.
$27 million. He was our plan B. I mean, thank God Mudryk said no to us.
Thank God,
Yeah,
Mudryk said no.
yeah. Look, and I actually think Mudryk, by the way, he's going to still turn out to be a good player. I think he's in the wrong spot, and I think he's very
Mm-hmm.
talented. But Trossard is so calm, collected, so
Great
classy on the
finisher.
ball. It's
Great finisher.
such a good
Scores
finisher.
massive
Y-
goals all the time too.
Look, we're not in this game alone. We're not in this game if he doesn't play against Porto. I really want to see him start against Bayern. You know I
Mm-hmm.
like him as the false nine player. We've spoken about
You,
this
you you had
before.
spoke on that too.
Yeah,
You have been someone, even myself. I countlessly on lineups I've been not adding Trossard. I've been not adding Trossard in. But every time Trossard steps in and he performs, and you just can't deny him. So, like you said, I wouldn't be mad if Trossard deserves a start because when Martinelli's down, he performs. We saw that in the late stretch and earlier this year. And no, Trossard again in Champions League against Porto and against Bayern steps up massively with goals. That second half for me was one that it was frustrating. But once we got the goal with Trossard, when that goal goes in, tell me your feelings because I
yeah.
was
Okay.
ecstatic.
Of course. I mean, it's such a good play. And we've seen this plenty of times, by the way, Arsenal this season. Like it happens in football all the time. But again, the importance of having a strong bench.
Mm-hmm.
We do. That's how we scored against City in the 1-0 where it was Partey to Tomiyasu to Havertz to Martinelli, all four subs right there combining for the goal. In this case, Jesus makes a couple great little dribble moves, lays it up to Trossard. Great goal, great finish into the bottom
Something
left
that people
corner.
have been criticizing him for taking too many touches, not having that impetus in front of
Well,
him.
I've been one of those people as well. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
how can
True.
you not at times? Your job as a striker is to be able to put the ball in the back, and
Back
then
of the
you can't
net.
do so if you're not shooting. So it's why I think he gets a lot of stick for not being the number nine that we need. I don't know if that's needed. Look at the way that City were played yesterday with a real number nine, and Holland was probably the worst player on the pitch
Pitch.
yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So a number nine that doesn't contribute, get involved, and make a flow the way that Arsenal do, especially with the amount of playmakers and creative guys that we have, fluidity is super important. So we need to have that, and that's sometimes actually some of my problems with Havertz is I just think that if he's off ball runs aren't good and we're not able to get him involved, yeah, he could drag the defense along, but it's not enough when we don't have a real finisher. If a guy that drags the ball off, someone off ball is great if we have finishers that could put the ball in the back of net, but we don't have someone like that. And if that's the case, then we have to play fluid football.
Do
And
you think
I just
Trossard
don't.
could be that guy? Possibly.
I I look. I thought we were great with Jesus last season. By the way, we were really good for most of the season. Then he got hurt, and I think Trossard kind of is a similar player in that way, where he can check in, he could dribble, he could pass. He's a fantastic, skillful player. I like Havertz. I just don't think he's had a much better season than he did last season. But I don't think that stats show everything, and he's had some great games. But for me, in Bayern's second leg, unless our concept is we're going to play long balls and we need someone to be winning those balls from the deep side and we're not going to build up, then I don't think that he fits that purpose to start in the game. Maybe he comes in, but I don't think that he should start.
We'll touch on Bayern's second leg and how we would approach that game personally between me and you. But I just want to touch on probably the biggest two talking points of yesterday's game. The two penalties that weren't given.
Yeah.
Firstly, the penalty for them, the Gabriel handball. No, all bias aside, that shocked me. Even when you watch it now, when the referee blows the whistle, Raya plays it to Gabriel, he stops it, puts it back, plays it again. It's kind of like one of those moments where you could miss it as a referee, or you could miss it just watching.
Did you realize it during the game? Because I
I
completely missed
didn't.
it.
I didn't. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You could really miss it, but it has to be a penalty, right? If we're being unbiased.
Look, it has to be a penalty. I don't know. I don't know if I'd be the coach that go into the locker room and go make excuses of it. I mean, they didn't do anything to go force a penalty. Like Tuchel came in and was complaining about it.
Mm.
I mean, it may be complaining, but it's not the reason that they should have won.
Mm-hmm.
So
I still don't
it
think they should have won the game, even when they were 2-1 up, two
oh
two.
yeah,
I think 2-2. I think is not even a fair reflection of the game, honestly. But I think that's also my problem with how we approached the game yesterday. I feel like again our inexperience showed, and I was one, and I'm a big advocate for Mikel Arteta and his development and his maturity and how he's been able to progress this team. But I still feel sometimes in those European games we try, and I heard a lot of people talking about it, trying to play these games like Premier League games. You will never be able to do it. You
yeah.
won't be able to do it. Play it on its merit. Take the game for what it is. If they're playing nasty and they're fouling and they want to play that dirty game, be wise to their game. Don't fall for
I
the traps. Don't
I
give
a
him
hun-
away anything.
I 100% agree. And one of the things that bothers me, they just, soccer fans, they like talk about, oh, Madrid. Well, they wear the Madrid badge like history, like if it's magic or something. Like, no, it's not magic. Where you put the badge on, all of a sudden you know how to play football in the Champions League and you're a better player then. No, guys, there's a maturity level to a team that knows how to play Champions League football, which is different than La Liga, which is different than Serie A, and which is different than Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a reason why when you go and play for a team like that and you have a coach like that, Real Madrid's probably the perfect example in the way that they won in was it 2022? Yeah, in 2022,
Mm-hmm.
the way that they won is what they were not even close
They
to the
weren't
best team
brilliant.
in
And
the,
they were they
yeah,
were out.
and
They
they're
were
like,
out in every single round they played and still managed to go through.
correct, and they're like, oh well, it's Real Madrid. Yes, but it's Real Madrid, but this isn't because of their success in the 90s
Mm-hmm.
and their success with Ramos and Khedira
Mm-hmm.
and Bale and Ronaldo. They're not there anymore. Okay?
It's just an
But
understanding and a maturity and a
yeah,
way of
there's
playing.
a maturity level of the players that are currently there and the coach that is there to understand the difference between the two.
We even see against
And
City yesterday. I thought City played better football than them. They managed to get out of there with a 3-3 draw, scored
of course,
outstanding goals, gave away some stupid goals as well. City scored brilliant goals as well. But
that first goal is really poor,
hmm
really
but
poor.
we don't want to get too far sidetracked because I touched on the know-how for a reason.
Mhm.
The second penalty for me, but the Bukayo Saka one, that is given if Manuel Neuer isn't who Manuel Neuer is. I think Manuel Neuer standing up and letting Bukayo Saka hit him sells it in a way that could possibly be looked at by a referee in the last minutes who's scared to make that call as, nah, I can't give it there. If Manuel Neuer comes out sprawled out like an inexperienced keeper, probably would. Who knows? That's probably given.
What
But the
about
way
the
he
time of
stands
the
up,
game too? What about the time of the game, the last second
mm-hmm.
of it?
Yep.
Okay, look, I have a slightly different view. I think I would have absolutely given it a penalty,
Mm-hmm.
but there's an argument to be made that Saka goes and takes it
Goes
with
down
his
to
left foot and kicks out his right foot, and it's not. And someone you could say it's a natural, but some will say that's a natural motion trying to get around it, and some will say that he's looking for the pen. What's not being talked about, and this is where I would call the pen, is that Neuer sticks out his right foot as well
mm-hmm.
simultaneously as he's doing it, and that's what causes the contact. For me, though, for a player of Bukayo Saka's caliber, I'm not looking for the penalty there. You've already made the move around the keeper. I think that it could have been avoided. If I
But
think that
running, some would also argue running at full pelt like that, running at full speed like
it's
that.
very tough. I like
Mm-hmm.
I 100% agree. Again, I would have called it. I could see the argument to be made of why it wouldn't have been called. The and between it being who Manuel Neuer is and it being the last kick of the game, those are two things that don't go in your favor when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to making call. The thing that baffles me is it not being checked by VAR.
Oh,
That's the one thing that
that
does.
was crazy. And
If
how
we're
he just
I
blew up for full time and then shoves and like
cor-
not doesn't even
correct.
acknowledge Bukayo
Cor-
Saka.
Correct. I don't look for me again. I don't think that if the call didn't need to be overturned
Mm-hmm.
for me to be okay with it. What I don't understand why we put effort and concentration into VAR for it not to be
To be
used. And my
used in the
other
most
problem with
critical.
VAR, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
my other problem with it, you and I are big Prem fans, but VAR is used differently in every single league. It's used differently. It's viewed differently in La Liga. I mean, we always say this concept of clear and obvious error, but yet we don't keep that consistent in the Prem. There's no consistency with VAR, and it's not
Uh,
just the fact that there are certain terms. The terms basically change to what league it is, and there's basically unwritten rules, and then that gets applied for Champions League, and then every league and fans view VAR in a different way because of it, and
mhm.
that's what causes the problem.
I
There
agree.
needs to be one universal set of standards and the way that there's an operating procedure of it. If it is actually the idea of it's a clear and obvious error, then it's a clear and obvious error. If the idea is, hey, this looks like the referee could have gotten it wrong, and you realize, and then it's a 90, it looks like they got it wrong, and you want to go with it, even though it's not clear and obvious, then we need to change the terms to that. There's got to be something. For me, if you want to say that this case it's a not a clear and obvious error, I would be okay with VAR coming to that decision,
Mhm.
but it's not universally.
The
It's
same
not.
thing everywhere.
It's
Yeah.
yes. It's not consistently done, and that's my problem.
I think that's a lot of people's big issue with VAR, especially when it leaves fans feeling like they're idiots. You make us feel like sometimes we're idiots. Like we're all watching the same game.
Yep.
What the angles you use in VAR don't make sense to the angles that we see in production. It's like why aren't the angles lining up? Is this the best angle you guys have? There's a lot of issues with VAR, but that aside, 2-2. The objective is no clear for Arsenal if they want to progress to a semi-final. I'm gonna ask you the straight question: can we do it?
Of course we can. We when our defense is at its best, that we could play with anybody.
Hmm.
And Bayern this season haven't been their best, but they've been good in Champions League, and that's very like we've talked about. It's a different league, it's a different game, and I not don't normally go off your record of form in your own respective league. It's
Yeah,
just not
really
it's not
fair.
it's not a telltale.
Hmm.
It's not fair to use that as the example of how you're going to play. But yes, of course we could get it done. Um, I think that we have enough guys that have maturity on the team, but I actually think we need to play them too. We need to play the guys that have the maturity. If you want to use Zinchenko as a super sub and not play him, totally fine with that. But Jesus has the maturity. Trossard is in his prime, and is in 20 is in, I believe 27 or 28. We've
Hmm.
Declan Rice, obviously we have to play. Then the question is who are we playing at that number 6 position? And if we want to talk about maturity, it's Jorginho.
I, I,
If
I,
you
I
want to,
I go for Jorginho, honestly.
yeah.
I, I,
So
I originally opted for Partey for the first leg for the mere fact that I believe Partey would have given us that expansive role of playing. Because I thought against Luton, Partey played absolutely brilliantly. The way he would get in there, pick up the ball, and pass it around, his passing looked absolutely brilliant at times. Yesterday, when Partey comes on, sloppy passes. I thought yesterday we gave the ball away uncharacteristically so many times, and that cannot happen.
yep,
Cannot happen at the Allianz. It cannot. But
every
I think,
plenty
I
of times.
think,
Jorginho had that one time that was just dreadful in the second
mhm.
half.
I think the key for us going through, I'll come out and say, like I predicted, I think it's going to be the Man City job all over again. But I think it will be Man City job with one tweak. I think Martinelli will start again. I think probably the lineup will quite possibly be the same, depending on if Tomiyasu's fit or not. We'll see how his fitness lasts going into that game. I just think it's probably going to be a Man City job. We're probably going to soak up a lot of pressure. We're probably going to play a lot deeper, and we're probably going to hurt Bayern on the counter. What do you think going into that game?
Well, I think that the biggest matchup for Arsenal to take advantage of is Saka versus whoever's going to play left back. We know
Oh,
Alfonso Davis is out
agreed.
for
Yeah.
that game,
Hmm.
so that is the matchup. If okay, where's the keys to be able to score? Because obviously we're gonna need to score. Where's the matchups to score? Well, the center backs haven't been great all season for them. Okay, the left side's pretty strong, and you have Kimmich there, who's a great defender, probably the best of the back four there. But his pace isn't great, so how can we use it? So yes, I agree with you. Maybe Martinelli should go there, even though I
Play
don't know. I mean,
Trossard.
like I said I'd probably go Trossard, maybe Jesus. But look, if you want to do if that's the tactic, we're actually going to play long balls over the top. Then yes, we do need Martinelli there, okay,
Mm,
or the ability to dribble and just run guys down the wing. Then yes, but we actually have to play tactically to be able to play to that advantage. We have to get
agreed.
the ball to Saka here. I felt we did a brilliant job letting him work in the first half, but after those fouls at like the 30th minute, yeah, I get it that he's going to get banged up there, and
But
there's not
I
enough.
think we stopped giving him the ball. I wanted to see Saka
Yeah,
just continue to run at Alfonso Davies. I thought Saka,
Abs-
whenever he had it, was a threat every
exactly.
single time.
Exactly. And you got a guy in a yellow card versus a guy who literally like picks up fouls for a living. I mean, we need to be attacking more. I also don't think that we did enough to protect the ref did enough to protect Saka. I mean, the amount of like tough fouls that he got for one yellow card in the entire game on it was just not fair. But
Mm.
that's the matchup for me. Saka versus who's ever going to play that left side defense.
Yeah, especially because our right hand side is so prominent. We score so many goals down there. Our best, literally, our creative players are down that side with Odegaard, White, and Saka. So
Yep.
that right hand side, like you say, I do agree with you. That side is going to be massive, massive. But finally, we know what needs to be done. But the weekend comes, Villa at home. That's another massive games. The games are coming thick and fast. Would you rotate for Villa? Because I know we're top of the league, but only on goal difference. We have the Champions League coming back up. What's your approach for Villa at the weekend?
No, we look at this point of the season, you have to be full throttle, and it's super important for next season. I mean, can you imagine, by the way, what our schedule would look like if between, let's just say, March and now, or to the end of the season, that not only were we competitive in the Premier League and the Champions League, but we were competitive in, let's say, the FA Cup as
Wake
well,
up.
and actually cared to win it. Carabao Cup, I could not care less about, but the FA,
Mm-hmm.
let's just say the FA Cup. So all of a sudden, we have three tournaments, a league and two tournaments that we're playing in. We need depth, and we need to be able to play. We saw even when we rotated versus Loon, which I was very happy that we did. There are certain players that really step up, and there are certain qualities that dropped, and we need to be able to. I'm not saying we need a city roster, but we do need to be able to have 16 guys
That we
or
can
so, 17 guys that we
call on
could
every
consistently,
single time.
yeah,
Yeah.
we could consistently depend on. I think that we have it, but obviously Arteta doesn't.
Interesting. What
I
players would you highlight for Villa at the weekend that possibly have to step up? Seeing that we have possibly. I mean, everyone's fit going into this game. Everyone trained against Bayern. Everyone trained for that game. What's your approach? What would be your lineup, or what would be your approach for Villa?
go look. We're at home. Villa's been good, but they haven't been as good as they were to start the season. They've
And
certainly
and they,
taken.
they haven't been traveling well. They haven't
Yep.
been traveling well at all.
No, they're them at home is really tough to play against, but
Yeah.
away, um, them being away, I think we get certainly got an advantage. I want to see more of an offensive lineup here. I'd probably drop Jorginho. I'd want to see maybe Declan drop back into the six. Would love to see Smith Rowe back on the pitch there. I thought he did a really good job against Luton. Really, really well on the ball there, creating chances. And we need more of that. We need more guys that, as I said, I thought that Odegaard, not that his form drops, his form's been incredible, but his goals have dropped this season because
Yeah.
he's needed to come back more to play the ball, because our
Mhm.
other side hasn't been on the ball as much, whether it's been Havertz or more recently Declan Rice, where you see Odegaard getting a little bit more forward because Declan drops in a little bit more. But when
Mhm.
Havertz was there, we just didn't see it. And again, I like Kai Havertz. I'm not a Kai Havertz hater at all. I really think he's a decent player. I just don't know I feel like he's a Swiss Army knife that does decent at every position and at times puts in great games. Like at
Mhm.
sometimes and times he's unrecognizable, like it was against Bayern, where it just I didn't felt like he didn't do anything.
Mhm.
So um,
Yeah, Smith Rowe is a really good show. I
I would
haven't heard a lot of
I'd love to
fans.
see it.
I haven't
I'd
heard a
love to
lot of
see Smith
fans
Rowe.
recently clamoring for him in recent weeks, especially since his performance based on the games we had to play. But again, like you say, you make a brilliant point in terms of creating chances and Odegaard's positioning and how he's been dropping so much deeper. And we see in the games where he's allowed to get that bit more free and allowed to get in the box more, we see Odegaard can still score and take his chances. Again, for me, probably a player that goes under the radar so much this season. For I don't know how other people view him, but every single game for me, Martin Odegaard is
He's
always there
brilliant.
and willing to show himself and willing to perform. So
This
again,
this dude's stamina is just
outstanding. The way he leads the
unworld.
press, picks
Yeah,
the ball up from the center backs.
he leads the press and then takes the ball from the center back and
Hmm.
somehow figures out a way to still be able to
To
drive
create goals
chances.
in the final third. Creates the
It's
most chances
absolute.
in Europe's
and
top
and he,
five leagues.
and Arteta doesn't sit him either. And Arteta he's in every single lineup. I mean, even when we rotate against Luton, he was on the pitch,
Hmm.
leading the press there. He is such a great leader. He's such a great captain, and I think it's without jinxing, I think it's fair to say that the Arsenal captain curse has been broken.
I like to hear that. Just because I think we're having so much good conversation, and I want to touch on this final topic before we close
Yep.
off. And same thing with Villa. We talked about Trossard, and you talked about wanting to see Trossard. Could we see possibly Trossard, Jesus, and Saka on the weekend?
I think that's a great lineup. I would love to see that. I mean, again, um, no, I haven't taken a look at Villa, who's playing for them consistently. I'm assuming Matty
Mm.
Cash is going to play on the right. Luka Digne is probably going to play on the left if they're both healthy. Um,
I haven't been checking for them at all. They've
uh,
been going through some injuries. They dropped players against City, brought them back in to play Brentford where they got the 3-3 draw. So
yep.
they've been a bit they've been rotating their squad a lot recently. I don't know if they're still in Europe. They quite possibly could be, so that could possibly affect their scheduling as well.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, I'd like to see a little bit more fluid of a front three here. Would love to see a Jesus, Trossard,
Mhm.
Saka. I think that'd be a fantastic lineup to go with, and we get the goal needs to be get up early, and be able to rush your guys.
Mhm.
Okay, get up 3-0, get up 2-0, get up 3-0, and just play the rest of the game out. Go get runners on the field and take the guys out that you need. Arteta's stubborn; he likes to stick with his guys, but we need to be able. If we're winning this game, we need to rest our guys for
Mhm.
Bayern. Okay, but at the same time, this is such a tight race in the Premier League.
Every
It
single game for Arsenal right now counts,
go
especially going into the last five.
we need to be able to play at our fullest. No, we
Mhm.
cannot drop points here. Liverpool gave
Mhm.
us a huge gift, dropping points against Man U, which was crazy that they even almost lost that game with how bad Man U played. But
They missed a lot of chances.
crazy, crazy.
But
Man U didn't even have a shot on goal until the second half. I mean, sorry, a
that's
shot.
also Manchester United for you. I kind
Yeah.
of had a feeling that they would perform against Liverpool due to the mere fact that they lost against Chelsea. They can't put two performances together. They can't put two back-to-back performances together at all to save their life. So I was kind of more confident that they lost that game than rather when if they won that game. But
Mhm.
thank you, Jesse, so much. Thank you
Of
for
course.
joining the channel. Thank you for all
Yeah,
your
it's always this
tactical
is always
analysis
great.
and insight. Every single time we talk, we have good conversations, great conversations. It's good to have you on. Let people know your Instagram if you want or anything you want to plug.
Yeah, no, I'll be starting up my own stuff shortly as well. My Instagram, Jesse Levine 30, Jesse Levine 30. We're gonna be starting up a little podcast soon called the Yeah Gunners Yeah podcast after Ozil and now Kai Havertz also bringing the hashtag
Yep.
back. Somehow that name hasn't been taken, so I'll be taking it very shortly, and we'll be
Uh-huh.
doing some stuff on it. But yeah, fantastic. Always great to chat with you.
Yep. Thank you guys for watching. Like I said, go support show some support to Jesse. A big fan, a big supporter of the channel. He helps out so much. Big Arsenal guy. He knows what he's talking about. Always support Jesse. We have good conversations all the time, guys. So don't
Love
forget to
it.
like, comment,
Love
subscribe.
it.
I'll
You
see you
better be
guys in the
liking,
next one.
commenting, and subscribing.
Yep, definitely.
All right.
Don't forget to
Thanks so
like, comment,
much.
subscribe. See you guys on the next one.
Take care.